brace yourselves because Candace Williams just dropped a nuclear bombshell on Sean Diddy Combs in her latest interview, and we're still picking up all the pieces, looking like Mr. Humpty Dumpty. Ooh-wee, Diddy might have trouble putting himself back together. I'm talking about some wild claims, y'all. Now look, these allegations have the internet absolutely losing its mind. If y'all thought the whole Jeffrey Epstein saga was shocking, then y'all better hold on tight because according to Candace Williams, Diddy is in the spotlight of Time 100 controversy.
So it's pretty obvious there's some sort of a gang operating in Hollywood, and there always has been one. And it's also pretty obvious that the mainstream media is basically just falling over themselves to hide that glaring obvious fact because they are part and parcel of that gang, hence the reason they are oddly quiet or protective when it comes to the Diddy case. Referring, of course, to Sean Combs, known once as Puff Daddy, P. Diddy. I don't know what year you grew up in. He changes his name very often. But he is facing new sex trafficking allegations in a lawsuit that was filed by a former porn star. Now, I want to recap this because I was hot on this case before I got taken off air. And sometimes I wonder, the media just sort of totally flipped on me until they wanted to turn me into a bad guy.
Candace Williams, known for her controversial takes and fearless attitude, just aired some serious dirty laundry on Diddy. She painted a picture of him as the mastermind behind some truly dark, shady activities that allegedly go way deeper than we ever imagined. She claims he's been running secret underground parties, pulling strings behind the scenes and engaging in behavior that, if true, makes Epstein's operations look like a schoolyard prank. Think of it this way. These events make House Party look tame, like House Party 2 or even House Party 3.
It's very connected. It has made me nervous traveling, going to hotels. I ask if there's any way to remove my name. The last time I landed in LA, I knew he had connections there. I got off the plane worried. I masked my face. I changed my outfits. Everybody has seen the video of Cassie. This is who I'm dealing with. Yes, we have all seen the video of Diddy beating the crap out of Cassie. And all he had to do was say, I'm sorry. Yeah. Pavel Durov, lock this guy up for creating technology where people can communicate freely. Diddy just, I don't know, give a video and say, I'm so sorry for that time I beat her or whatever. And you know he was asked, what do you want people to know about the situation? Rodney was asked that, and he said, he wants people to know that Diddy is nothing more than a shrewd, a crooked businessman. He has stolen publishing for years. He's nothing but a thief. He has no soul. He lives off other people's gifts and talents. It's not a human way to live. And on that note, and in closing, I want to remind you that this is probably the clearest statement to come out of this entire thing. I tell you all the time that we are dealing with people that are demonic. I believe that Hollywood was established by people who quite literally worship the devil, right? And because they are demonic, they do not have the creative force in them. They do not have the force of the creator in them. And so they have to lie, they have to steal, they have to cheat, and they have to deceive. And if Diddy has sold his soul to the devil, then he becomes that exact same person. And it's unfortunate, but I promise you guys, it doesn't matter how much the media tries to avoid and ignore this lawsuit, I will continue to cover it because it is crucial as we are all starting to see that just, one thread in a tapestry of deception. It just takes pulling at one thread. And now we're all starting to see that it's all falling apart. It's all falling apart. We're recognizing that we have been living a lie and that people with a lot of power have been doing horrific things in plain day sight. But I think their time is coming up, and I think they know it too, and they're starting to get sloppy. So pray for Rodney. He says that he's flat broke and in hiding, and obviously he hasn't put up a GoFundMe or I would be promoting it.
All right, let's get into the specifics. During a podcast, Candace didn't hesitate to drop bombshell after bombshell. First up, she alleged that Diddy has been throwing these super exclusive parties that only the Hollywood elite can attend. Now, we've all heard rumors about Diddy's notorious parties for years, but according to Candace, these aren't your average celebrity shindigs. Nah, man, she says they're filled with A-listers, high-profile politicians, and even billionaires who indulge in the wildest activities imaginable. It's like, yo, pass the Cool Whip, the fondue, and the nunchucks. If that wasn't bad enough, she also hinted that some of these activities involve minors.
Jacob Blake, he was that 29-year-old black man who was partly paralyzed after a white police officer shot him 7 times in the back in Kenosha. You might remember him as a knife-wielding maniac. He was literally wielding a knife. But somehow this shooting, which was totally justified, became a rallying cry. And there were demonstrators in Kenosha and across the country who were boycotting in professional sports leagues as well. And it was just people looting, destroying, what we see over and over again. And they blamed Trump because he said we need law and order. Now, according to the criminal complaint, Blake had allegedly entered the house of a woman he knew. She was the one who called the police. In the early hours of the morning, he sexually assaulted her, and then he took a debit card and car keys before fleeing in her vehicle. So yeah, might have been a reason if somebody's coming at you with a knife and is fleeing a scene of a crime after allegedly having sexually assaulted a woman and stolen from her, and she called the police. There might have been a reason that that shooting took place, but LeBron James leaves that out because, again, I don't know who he's working for, but it seems like he's one of the ones that are picked, chosen to deliver this message to the masses. A man who doesn't even touch his own door handles, telling you that we can't go outside. I'm sorry, who can't go outside? What are you speaking about? I'm pretty sure LeBron James lives in a $100 million mansion in Beverly Hills. Why can't you go outside, LeBron? Is it like too hot? Is it like the summertime? I'm not clear on that. So one thing that I've recognized is that LeBron James, despite saying all of this, is really mum on the Diddy case. I mean, if he cares so much about Black victimhood, you would think that he would use his platform to speak right now when the perpetrators are, you know, his friends, allegedly. Let me show you this clip of LeBron James speaking about how much he loves a Diddy party.
Hey, everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Don't forget to put in the box.
That's what's up. Yeah.
Ain't no party like a Diddy party. And by the way, he's not lying there. From everything that I've read, if these allegations are true, there truly is no party like a Diddy party. Because I don't know any party. I've been to a lot of parties in my youth. Never did we have like pink cocaine in bottles and like thousands of bottles of baby oil and people that were sex slaves sleeping with each other. We just did not. So it could be just factually a true statement to say that there ain't no party like a Diddy party. Now let me show you this clip of him partying with Diddy, dancing to a Migos song. Take a listen.
I got a Richie that sit on my lap, and sometimes I always be pulling the blade. After no earth, ever since I got that rocket chain that took a trip out of space. I was in bird, I'm on my tongue, and they had a crew, but they didn't hate. I know my work, so when you're doing the purpose, and keep with your mama little day. Medicine church, when they see everything down in the stone, in my Jesus' face. I ain't got a run, and it's not a race. Go!
Well, it looks like he's having a really good time. It looks like he's had a lot of time with Diddy. They've been friends for years. They're always hugging, dapping up, bad boys for life, right? And so where is LeBron James, who has elected himself the mayor of speaking out when nobody cares to hear his opinion, speaking out to emote to Black Americans, to make Black Americans emotional in order to make them feel justified in their behavior when they riot and they loot? Because that's what he's doing. He's in his mansion. He's tweeting, you see, we can't even step outside in Beverly Hills. We can't even. And then the Black youth are seeing this. They're going, that's my king. And they take to the streets and they get themselves in trouble. So again, where is LeBron on the Diddy thing? Because if you're telling me that you use your platform to speak out when there are Black victims, there sure as hell seems to be a lot of them when it comes to Diddy.
Candace even said that she's spoken to some of Diddy's former associates, and they described these parties as beyond disturbing. She claims that Diddy uses his power and influence to keep people quiet, and that anyone who dares to speak out mysteriously disappears from the public eye. Kim Porter? Chrissy White? Starting to see a pattern, y'all. But she didn't stop there. Candace went on to say that Diddy's involvement goes beyond just these parties. She alleged that he's been involved in trafficking, using his connections to keep his dirty deeds hidden under the radar. According to her, this isn't just a small operation. She claims there are hundreds of victims tied to Diddy's alleged trafficking ring. It's like Epstein's network, but on a much larger scale. Epstein had his infamous Little Black Book, but according to Candace, Diddy has an entire network spanning multiple countries.
There's a claim that Kim Porter kept copies of Diddy's alleged sex tapes as leverage. What evidence do you have to support this narrative?
The tapes.
So you actually have tapes?
I'm not going to do fully comment. Let's just say there's tapes that exist. Yeah.
Well, let's
That are on her
let's
flash
ponder around that.
There's
The
tapes.
investigators in the case that is now filed,
Yes.
right, say that they are in possession of tapes. They can actually confirm that there are tapes,
Sure.
as well as baby oil, as well as all of the
Sure.
other things that they
Yes.
found.
Yeah.
And so with that, we do know from that perspective that the DA involved in the case that Diddy is now
The
facing,
federal government. Yeah.
yes, the DA and the federal government have tapes.
Attorney General.
And so my question is, there's a claim that Porter kept copies of, and this is in your book,
Yes.
that she kept copies of Diddy's alleged tapes as leverage,
Yes.
right? And in making that, it would be assumed that you would, or the possession of those tapes, you've seen them, you have them, you know about them. And like I said, what evidence do you have to support the narrative?
Yes, there are tapes that exist.
Okay. The book alleges that Diddy kept a vault of tapes documenting his alleged sexual encounters. Was there any hard evidence that such a vault existed?
The sources say there was a vault that existed, yes. And some of the tapes were flown out of the country on a private jet. That's from the sources directly, so I have to believe them. If she's angry, if she was abused, if she's fighting back, because we know through, and I'm going to reveal some of these other things that are on the drive that discuss why she was doing it and when. Okay.
So you
She
didn't.
wanted-
These are other things that you didn't include in.
Correct.
And why did you keep that out?
Correct, because I can't reveal everything at once. It's too shocking. If I was to release those tapes, the world would shut down. Okay. If I showed one of these tapes,
So
I'm telling you right now, the whole music industry and Hollywood, it would just grind down like this. They're all going to start pointing at each other like this, and it's going to be bad. We've already set it up. We have multiple attorneys. We know how to do it. It's not my first rodeo. I solved the greatest murder case in history, 3 of them. I know how to do it. We're going to do it, but just going to come in pieces. And there's also ways we can, let's say, not censor it, but we can kind of soften it, right? Like the whole tape doesn't have to come out. All the tape. I don't have all the tapes. There's other people that have the tapes. I can't control them. We already know they're shopping in Hollywood. We have proof of other people telling us. We actually didn't have that one they showed. So there's multiple out there. Remember, this has been going on for 30 years. So I'm not the only one who has them. I think I have specific ones that no one has. But so yeah, it's gonna be extremely shocking. We've got to be really just kind of one step at a time.
But
So-
you can confirm nor deny that what you claim to have, that no one else has, correct?
some of, I would say this, let's say there's 10 tapes, right?
So this is a hypothetical.
Yeah. Hypothetically, there's 10 tapes. There's a couple of those that no one has, but the flash drive has. I can pretty much guarantee.
And
that.
how can you?
Because if anybody has those, they're going to go to jail. If they release what I believe they think they have or they want to release, they will most likely go to jail.
One of the most mind-blowing parts of the reveal was when Candace claimed that everybody in Hollywood knows what's been going on but refuses to say anything. She alleges that Diddy has dirt on so many big-name celebrities that nobody dares to cross him. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but why hasn't anyone blown the whistle yet? According to Candace, it's because Diddy has mastered the art of manipulation. She claims he's a puppet master, using blackmail, threats, and intimidation to keep people in line. Candace described how attendees of Diddy's parties are sworn to secrecy. She even suggested that some of your favorite celebrities are complicit, either by participating in these alleged sick activities or by turning a blind eye to them. According to her, it's Hollywood's best-kept secret. But not for long, because Candace says she's on a mission to expose it all.
But Mark Zuckerberg did something strange. He really came out guns a-blazing against the Biden administration, saying that he was pressured by them to censor Facebook. Oh, so interesting. I wonder why they wanted him to censor Facebook. Because they were lying. So why has he decided to speak out now, and is it going to make a difference? We're going to talk about that. All that coming up on Candace. Did he do it? That is the question, and I'm going to give you guys my opinion on this. So obviously we have to recap the lawsuit because I want to be the Nancy Grace of the Diddy lawsuit because I'm just obsessed with it because no one else is covering it. That makes me even more interested. Of all the things the media go after, all of the individuals they go after, wall-to-wall coverage. If you have an excerpt of something that I've said out of context, she's unhinged. No one will touch this lawsuit. What does that mean? That means that real power is involved in this lawsuit. That is the meaning of it. And of course, we know that real power has a stranglehold over Hollywood. So to briefly recap, I'm just going to give you the three most explosive things that came out of this lawsuit. The first thing was that Diddy regularly drugs and records artists, just to be clear, allegedly. This is a lawsuit I am reading against him. And that these up-and-coming artists in the industry are caught on camera, on Diddy Cam, if you will, doing things they probably would not want to have exposed to the public. But of course, they're high, they're drunk. And effectively, the implication here is that those recordings could eventually be used as blackmail. I'm going to read you direct from the lawsuit. Mr. Jones has secured irrefutable evidence of the acquisition, use, and distribution of ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and shrooms. The displaying and distribution of unregistered illegal firearms, Mr. Combs providing laced alcoholic beverages to minors and sex workers at his homes, plural, in California, New York, and the U.S. Virgin Islands and Florida. Mr. Combs' chief of staff, named Christina Coram, referred to as KK, instructing her staff to retrieve drugs so that she can provide it to Mr. Combs for his consumption. Christian Combs, that's Diddy's son, drugging and sexually assaulting a woman. Mr. Combs detailing how he planned to leverage his relationship with Bishop T.D. Jakes to soften the impact on his public image regarding the Cassie Ventura lawsuit. Young Miami's cousin, that's another rapper and or assistant, sexually assaulting Rodney Jones. Actor Cuba Gooding Jr. sexually harassing and also assaulting Mr. Jones. A rapper whose name was redacted on Mr. Combs' yacht, consorting with underage girls, sex workers, yada, yada. You get this, again, naming the fact, saying that there are underage girls and sex workers involved throughout all of this. And I'm just like, wow, did we just arrest Pavel Durov a couple of days ago? It's just amazing because he created a platform. They're like, well, bad things could be happening on this platform. But then when you have this lawsuit, and I want to be very clear of why I'm saying this is a credible lawsuit, because he supplied endless videos, photos, screenshots to prove that what he was saying was true. Okay, so this isn't like some random person filing a lawsuit. You know, I was like the loudest voice against Me Too. I even had to step out of myself and defend Matt Lauer, who was very much on the opposite side of the political aisle from me, because I thought that what happened to him was completely unfair. I mean, somebody made an allegation. He lost his entire life. It turned out he was having a years-long affair with the girl. I am not here for like baseless accusations. But this was not baseless. Any person who read through this document, and you should take the time to read through this document, realizes what on earth is going on in Hollywood. It's the first question that you'll ask yourself. And then you will start to recognize that the media is complicit in covering this up. And then you'll start to ask yourself, why is that?
And let's not forget, Diddy's been linked to plenty of scandals over the years, from shady business dealings to accusations of violence. But Candace took things to a whole new level. She claims this isn't just about business. According to her, Diddy has a dark, twisted side that the public hasn't even begun to grasp. She also alleges that he has a network of people, from corrupt officials to powerful Hollywood insiders, helping him cover up his activities.
Let's get to me speaking to her uncle, because that actually happened, like I promised you yesterday. I said I had a phone call. I was trying to wait for it to happen yesterday. Well, it happened last night. Part one of our phone call happened last night. We briefly spoke on the phone, I would say for about 10 minutes. And I first want to say just how much I liked this guy. And I could just also sense that he was being incredibly honest and forthright. And he was speaking to me. And it was actually like very I guess I would say just beautiful in a way, because he cared about this. He wanted to reach out because he cares so much about Vioris, and he doesn't want whatever is going on with Kamala to make people have this perception of Vioris. And I told him right away that it was never my intention for him to get inundated. So I want to be clear. My understanding is that it's the press calling, but I want to make sure that there are no Candace Owens viewers that are going out there calling any of these relatives that are still alive, because we can find information online, but we definitely should not be harassing her relatives who have nothing to do with her running, and in many cases don't even agree with her politics. Like this person that I spoke to is a Candace Owens fan, conservative, as many Caribbeans are conservative, because on the islands that it's just not a lot of wokeness. I'll leave it at that. I asked him directly if he knew the Miss Iris that he is referring to in this book, in the Miss Iris that Donald J. Harris is referring to in his piece, rather, who he says is Iris Ney Finnegan. Again, very strange, because Iris should have never been Ney Finnegan. Finnegan was her married name. And he said, I can't answer that. I don't know that name. I want to be very clear. He has a relationship with Donald. He is close with Donald. They grew up together. He considers Donald his full brother. He has no idea who Miss Iris Finnegan is. This is Donald's brother that we're talking about. So I said, okay, that's, of course, of some interest to me. I asked him why it is that he's even then mentioning this Miss Iris. And he told me that he wanted to clarify something which was of most importance to me. He wanted me to know that before Vioris and Oscar Harris got married, Oscar Harris already had 3 children, okay? One of them being Donald. Now, to be clear, he is younger than Donald, a lot younger than Donald, so he wouldn't know much about if there was some family secret. He would not be aware of it, but to the best of his knowledge, this is what he was told, that they had 3 children before Vioris and Oscar got married. And I asked him, quite frankly, if he knew or heard of Beryl. He told me he does not know Beryl. Instant red flag to me. I'm like, what do you mean? How do you not know? If you have a half sibling that you are close to and have been close to your whole life, how do you not know who their mom is? He said, I don't know who his mother is. You don't know who Donald Harris's mom is. The woman who started this entire thing, Beryl Finnegan, the person who just flagged me as weird, something is not right here. We now know that Donald Harris's brother does not know him, okay?
Y'all remember when Jaguar Wright came out with accusations against Diddy? Well, Candace brought that up too, saying Jaguar only scratched the surface. If you thought those claims were bad, Candace alleges it's 10 times worse behind the scenes. Candace claims people who've tried to expose Diddy have been threatened or have mysteriously disappeared. It's like something out of a sinister movie. Throughout the interview, she repeatedly compared Diddy to Jeffrey Epstein, and honestly, the parallels are chilling. Candace pointed out how both Epstein and Diddy allegedly used their wealth and connections to create untouchable empires of corruption. But while Epstein's world eventually came crashing down, Diddy is still going strong.
By the way, as an update, we still have not heard a single word from our boy LeBron James, who was definitely in the mix. Nothing also said from Jay-Z. Nothing also said from Beyonce, though I doubt Beyonce was attending any of these freak-offs. But as we know, they are kind of at the tippity top of the food chain when it comes to Black America and the people that Black America follows. And neither of them have said anything about their friend Diddy. Watched Diddy beating someone on camera, right? That element, it's like he owned it. He said, yes, I did this. Cassie wrote this in her lawsuit. How do you not make a statement? This is the part that I don't get. You purport to care so much about Black Americans. You purport to care so much about Black victimhood. Then when it's in your face and a friend of yours is beating a woman on camera, you stay completely mum. These people are frauds. That's the reality. These people are absolute frauds. I can't stand there. I view all of them as feds. Jay-Z, every person that gets up and dances with Kamala Harris and does the tidbit with the Democrats, I view them all as feds. I view them all as agents.
Candace believes that exposing him will require someone brave enough to blow the whistle, just like in Epstein's case.
Please come forward. If you're a witness, please come forward. If you have evidence, please come forward. I think that was instrumental in what we're seeing now. Ever since, in 24 hours, we've received 12,000 calls, if you can believe that. Now, I don't know if that's going to
12,000 calls.
Yes, sir.
You said 12,000 calls. You received 12,000 calls?
Now, that doesn't mean 12,000 people who claim to be victimized. It just means 12,000 people have called this line that we published yesterday. And obviously, as you know, there's going to be people with crank calls and people that with foolishness and people with malcontent. But we are sifting through that and trying to make sure that we identify and vet people that have real claims, legitimate, credible claims. Right now, we're talking about 120 people from 25 different states for conduct that occurred over 25 years.
25 different states? Is that what you said? Not cities. You said 25 different states.
Yeah. Because, a lot of these parties obviously took place in Los Angeles, New York, Manhattan, or the Hamptons, and Miami. And a lot of these people were flown in. And this wasn't a secret. I mean, it was known that people were being flown in for these parties. People were being paid cash to attend these parties. People were being identified at clubs or at concerts or on the street even, and invited to these parties. So you have that group of people that are involved. And then you have another group, and maybe this is the more sinister situation where, young people with stars in their eyes wanting to break into the entertainment industry with promises of stardom, who are taken advantage of, in some cases, allegedly drugged and abused, and basically just left behind, with shame and guilt. What I'm looking at, obviously, you have an individual who has been indicted and arrested and whose bail has been denied. And obviously he's obviously a target of this, but I'm looking more, in addition to that, of course, who else was involved? What venues were involved?
Right.
Who sponsored some of this conduct? Who benefited from this? Who profited from this? Who was there in the room? Who encouraged this, facilitated this, didn't say a word about it, kept it hush hush? I mean, you can only imagine the number of entities and individuals that could potentially be complicit in all this.
Mr. Busby, and I'm getting there. I was going right there because you talk about the complicitness of those others that may have been involved. I want to know of the survivors, the accusers, whatever word is appropriate. Do they talk about, and have they talked about, Diddy Combs? Or have they named names and provided names of other, dare I say, co-conspirators in all of this? What kind of, what can you tell us on that front?
We have a long list of names. And obviously, this is a very sensitive situation. The worst thing we could do is name somebody who was involved or allegedly involved and not have our ducks in a row. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be involved in ruining someone's reputation by making a mistake. Obviously a lot of this is hard to corroborate. I mean, you're talking about a situation where somebody is, who thinks that all their dreams are about to come true. They're there with somebody who's a mega star and other stars in the room, and they think all kinds of good things are going to happen to them, and probably the worst thing that could happen to them happens. But yes, there are people who owned private homes, people who owned private venues, people that were in the room, people that I'm going to allege knew what was going on and either participated in it, encouraged it, egged it on, if you will, or somehow benefited from it. And that's going to be different for every case. I mean, these are individual cases at different points in time with different people involved, and there'll be different defendants in each case.
Without naming names, because certainly I appreciate you being responsible enough, and dare I say I would have been responsible enough to say I'm not going to even get into names of allegations. I wouldn't put that out there. But may I ask you from a general perspective or a generic perspective, are these alleged co-conspirators, are they public figures? Are they well-known people in Hollywood, in the music industry? Are they people who worked for P. Diddy Combs? Could you be specific in that regard?
I would say yes to all the above. Yeah.
Yes to all of the above.
All the above. People that names that you would know, some people's names you wouldn't know, but are people that are in management or executive positions, people that were benefiting from this culture that was created. people that were there knowing that this was going to happen, people that actually participated, venues that knew it was going on. I mean, just think about it. Just one aspect of this, typically when an entertainer of the stature that P. Diddy was at one point, when he rents out a hotel, he typically would rent out the entire floor, and just a revolving door of people showing up at the front desk whose names weren't being taken down, who were just escorted right up to the floor, and things are happening up there. I mean, it's hard to turn a blind eye. If you have any common sense whatsoever, you know what's going on.
After everything Candace revealed in her interview, the question on everyone's mind is what happens now? Diddy's been laying low recently, but these allegations could bring new heat. If more people come forward with their stories, like Candace is urging, this might mark the beginning of the end for Diddy's reign of power. But let's not get it twisted. Candace herself admitted that taking Diddy down won't be easy. He has powerful friends in high places and a lot of money to keep things quiet. Candace is adamant that the truth will eventually come out, and when it does, she says Diddy's empire will crumble faster than anyone can imagine. Since this revelation dropped, social media has been on fire. People are in total shock. Some fans are standing by Diddy, claiming these are just wild conspiracy theories meant to bring him down. Others are ready to see him face justice. And y'all know how it goes. Where there's smoke, there's usually fire. Even some celebrities have started chiming in. A few have hinted that they know more than they're letting on, while others are staying suspiciously quiet. Either way, this story is far from over. Candace didn't hold back, and her revelations have rattled a lot of cages. Whether you believe her or not, one thing's clear: Diddy's dark side is under the spotlight like never before. If what she's saying is true, we're looking at a scandal that makes Epstein's network look like small potatoes in a chip factory.